for the rest of them.
I think somebody got some pressure from up top to put a case together.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what evidence the police have. You know, what DNA evidence they have that convinced them that Nils was guilty. But again,
I don't know either.
But it didn't hold up in court.
No, obviously
not. It
not.
was pretty weak evidence.
Obviously, it was insufficient. Yeah. So I think Nils was innocent.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's about it.
You guys asked for this.
You guys did.
You wanted to hear us
true.
talk about a thing that we have nothing to add to.
Actually, you know what? Joe and I were talking about this earlier. I think I figured out why all of our top stories are our top stories.
Is it because we just didn't want to do them, so they keep getting score?
No, they all have a pretty common thread, which is there's just enough evidence to know what's going on, but there's not quite enough evidence to pin down where it's going.
Yeah.
And it's that perfect storm of information and lack of that just gets the imagination going. And because I've looked through the rest of the list after I figured this out, all like that.
It could be like
That's why these are so popular.
They're like a Rorschach blot.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to just lose yourself in the what ifs.
Well, I have something to tell you guys, actually.
Really, what's that?
I committed the Lake Bottom murders.
Oh,
Yeah,
do you
I've
not
always
actually
suspected
age?
that.
Is that the deal?
Yeah. It's actually that portrait I have in my house
No.
that looks like an old lady.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got one of those too. It
Yeah.
didn't work for me.
It worked for me.
Yeah.
I'm actually 572.
Oh, really? No wonder that old lady looks like a space alien. Yeah. All right, you guys. Any final thoughts, or should we wind this down?
I think we're good.
Wind it up, sir.
Okay. You're probably wondering if we have a website. Well, it turns out we do. It's called thinkingsidewayspodcast.com, and you can listen to episodes, check our links. We do post links and stuff like that, and also leave comments, of course. Hopefully polite, positive comments. We're on iTunes, of course. You can subscribe. You can leave us a review, which would be great, preferably 5 stars. You can stream us from anywhere of like a million websites, so go find one. It's easy. We're also on Facebook, Thinking Sideways, Facebook. Friend us, like us, follow us.
The page in the group.
Yeah, and we have a page in the group. That's right. We're on Twitter. We're Thinking Sideways. That's without the G. We have an email address, believe it or not. Yeah.
We
finally got one.
We are so
Finally.
21st
Couple years
century.
ago.
Yeah. Thinking Sideways Podcast at gmail.com. And also, if you're so inclined, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/Thinking Sideways, where if you want to, pledge a certain amount of money per episode, you don't have to, not at all, but if you feel like it, you can find us out there. Anyway, that's about it. Do you guys have any more, murder puns or anything like that
No.
to talk about?
Get to it.
Pretty much. Okay, so we're going to stick a fork in this one. Goodbye, everybody.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Hey guys, Steve here. You are listening to one of our original 26 episodes. If you've listened to any of our new episodes, you're going to notice that we're sounding a little different in these ones.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
There is.
They've been remastered
They have been remastered.
because they had a really annoying hum.
Yeah, I mean, a huge thanks to listener James for doing almost all of the legwork on this
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
You'll also notice if you had listened to what we're calling the Lost 26 episodes before, and you're re-listening now, the music and sound effects are gone.
Yes, we've gone back to straight audio. So be warned, we sound a little different today than we do in what you're about to listen to.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Take the picture state as a formulator line.
What?
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
So, hi everyone. This is Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I'm Devin,
I'm Steve.
I'm Joe.
and we're going to talk about a mystery.
Woo! An unsolved mystery?
An unsolved mystery.
Oh, those guys. I like those kind of best.
Woo! I know, and it's actually my favorite kind of unsolved mystery, it turns out. I'm seeing a pattern in the unsolved mysteries I bring.
You like the ones where people die.
They're all cases where, apparently healthy middle-aged men die under weird circumstances.
That's really disconcerting.
So I don't know what that says about the future of your guys' lives.
I know when we run a story ideas, you're going to have to mysteriously murder one of us.
It's going to be like, oh gosh, we have a perfect story because Joe disappeared the other day.
Right now, he's
so weird.
He was found hung from a tree, but there was no rope.
Well, how did that happen?
I know.
Okay. Anyways, we're going to talk about the lead mask case today. We're in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in 1966. It's August 17th, and two TV repairmen tell their relatives that they need to go buy supplies for work. And some accounts say that they also mention they want to buy a car for work. And they're close friends. They travel a lot together. They're always seen together. They had money for a vehicle maybe, but they definitely had money for the supplies with them. The men, who are Miguel, Jose, and Manuel, later stop at a bar to get a bottle of water, and they get a receipt for a deposit. 1966, you get like a glass bottle or something, and you bring it back. You put a deposit on it. You bring it back, they reuse it.
Okay.
10 cents, 20 cents, which, 1966.
That was real money.
Was real money. It's not like
Brazil.
Millions of dollars, but it's real money.
It's money.
It's worth the return.
Right.
The bartender said that Miguel appeared to be in a hurry because he was frequently checking his watch. Some accounts I've read said that the bartender said that he looked nervous. I think it's just, semantics at that point.
Somebody's retelling it to make it more mysterious and inviting.
I think
Got
so,
it. Okay.
As these things bounce around and the tale is retold, things get embellished a little bit too.
So that's the last time either of them were seen alive.
Well, that's a quick story. Oh, wait. Okay. So there's got to be more here.
There's more here. So a boy flying a kite found their bodies 3 days later on Vintém Hill in Rio de Janeiro. Mm-hmm. Both men were dressed in suits and wearing waterproof coats, which wasn't really out of the ordinary because it had apparently, according to most accounts, most reasonable accounts, it had been pouring rain recently.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
So it makes sense. Again, there are definitely accounts that say it was weird because it was sunny, but I suspect that it probably was raining.
Well, if it's Rio de Janeiro, the weather is, it's a subtropical area, so the weather goes back and forth. It's known for storms. It's right on the coast, too.
There's a lot of areas, like when I was in South America, they had the rainy season, and the rainy season is usually pretty nice, but then for about a half hour to an hour out of every day, it just dumps, and then it clears up and it's nice again, and so that's probably what's the case for down there.
Yeah, so the rain jackets weren't really out of the ordinary. However, the lead eye masks, which were like sunglasses almost, but made out of lead, with no holes poked in them, that was a little out of the ordinary.
That's a little different. And by the way, I've seen pictures of them, and they appear to be handmade. Apparently, they made them themselves.
They look vaguely handmade. I don't know.
They were. I've read accounts that said they made them themselves.
Okay.
And just for everybody to picture what these look like, because when I first saw this, it was really weird because the first article or two I read didn't show the photo.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I saw the photo that I understood what they meant by lead eye masks.
They look vaguely like goggles, like scientific goggles, or like big Ray Bans.
Have you ever been to the eye doctor and they dilate your eyes and they give you those plastic little
that just
glass
wrap
things
around your face?
Yeah. That's exactly what they look like.
Yeah, or they look like safety glasses, plastic safety, kind of like that.
Yeah, but they're made out of lead and they have no eye holes poked in them. They said that it's the sort of thing that someone would wear to protect their eyes from radiation, which was common at the time. When people were working with radiation, it was common at the time to wear that. They found the empty water bottle with these men. They had 2 towels with them, which I don't really understand.
No.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Well, so the thing is about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? It does say to always bring a towel, but the Hitchhiker's Guide wasn't written for more than 10 years.
Obviously, he was referencing this historical.
It must have been. You're right. Yeah.
But and correct me if I'm wrong, but in at least one account that I read, they had a plastic bag with them, and they had soaked the towels in water.
I didn't read that.
I didn't see that.
Oh, really? You didn't see that?
No.
So in one account that I read, they had a plastic bag, and they had 2 towels in there, which they had wet and already moistened, and that accounts for the need for the water. But I'll talk about that later.
Okay. Is this your theory?
It's a possible theory.
Okay. All right. So we'll revisit that. Yeah. Great. They also found a notebook which just confused everything further. It was written in Portuguese. And the translation read 1630, be at agreed place. 1830, swallow capsules. After effect, protect metals, wait for mask signal.
Wait for mask signal.
And that was it. Just those two little lines. in the book.
Protect metals.
Well, that's cryptic.
Yes. And to add, to it, the money that these men supposedly had wasn't found on them. Whether or not the kid who found them took the money, whether or not somebody else took the money, whether they just didn't have the money to begin with.
Maybe they spent it all.
Maybe they did.
I mean, water in Brazil is very expensive, so they probably took the whole kitty right there.
That's the story. So we can get into theories now if you guys want.
Well, I wanted to point out is that I know that the kid that found him, of course, turned around and called the authorities. And everybody needs to remember, this is 1966. He doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So he had to run to the town.
And he probably didn't run. He probably walked.
He probably walked. And then he had to make the phone call. And correct me if I'm wrong, but because of the conditions and where it was at and the time of day, the police didn't go there till the next day.
Yeah.
It wasn't as if they were in a hurry to get him. And
the guys were already dead.
Yeah.
Well, and these guys had been missing for 3 days.
3 days.
So they'd been gone for 3 days. Now, granted, the boy didn't know who they were.
Right.
But it's kind of odd that it took so long to me. You would think, well, we've got to go get these people that are lost up there.
Oh, apparently it was fairly rugged terrain, and there were no roads leading up to where their bodies were.
They did. All of the pictures of the crime scene, they had to carry the bodies out in these makeshift tub things. I don't know what time he found them. I didn't find a record of that. If it were later in the evening and it was getting dark out, I would expect that, it was muddy terrain, it had been raining.
Okay, then that makes more sense. It was just strange to me that nobody rushed up there to take care of it. So, okay.
There are a couple theories. Some mundane, some...
Fantastical?
Fantastical is exactly the word I was looking for. One of the theories is that the lead masks suggest that the men were expecting radioactivity, which is fair.
Yeah.
But there was no radioactivity found on the hill where they were found. Which kind of brings up the idea that these men may not have been found at the referenced agreed upon place. That might not have been where the agreed upon place was. So that they may have gone and done their business elsewhere that these little notes referenced. And to be fair, even there's no proof that says that this note referenced, that day. They could have gone and done all of their business that had their little notes and then, run into a murderer who killed them and was like, whoa, there's lead masks.
Takes the cash,
takes the cash, puts the lead masks on and just walks away. So for all we know, this is, there's still a mystery here, but it doesn't actually pertain to their deaths. So that's...
Do we know the cause of death?
No.
And the bodies were somewhat deteriorated.
So what happened was they were found 3 days after they had disappeared, or that they had been seen last. But the coroner in Rio de Janeiro at the time was really busy. So when they were performing the autopsies, he left all their organs out at room temperature for just hours at a time. So by the time he got around to dissecting them to see if there was anything in them, they were just spoiled. There was no telling what was going on.
Okay, so you couldn't run any tests.
So they couldn't run any kind of tests.
Okay, and there was no outward signs of it wasn't as if they had
there was not.
Yeah,
there wasn't like a bullet hole in their head or anything.
Okay,
yeah.
So robbery seems unlikely.
So robbery does seem unlikely. I mean, you don't really poison people, but they did reference capsules, right?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
They didn't find any capsules.
So they must have swallowed them.
Taken them.
Yeah.
But, the evidence of those would, of course, be in internal organs.
Right.
Which are spoiled.
Which were spoiled. Because the coroner was really busy that day.
Or it was an alien.
He might have been. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. He's part of the conspiracy.
Yeah. And then, there are claims of UFO activity stuff. And there are a couple around this because these two men were UFO enthusiasts. And the place that they were found was known as a UFO hotspot, quote unquote.
Okay.
There were reports of UFOs being sighted the day before they were found, or I guess the night before they were found.
Oh, okay.
In the area, and and none of the articles I could find made clear if these were reports that came before or after their, discovery. And we've talked about this before, right? That's a big problem. If they come after,
they're not real reliable.
They're not really. But this area was known as a UFO hotspot. UFOs were reported pretty frequently in this area.
Okay.
So there was a theory that since they were UFO enthusiasts, they went to this area to perform a suicide pact that coincidentally was at the same time that a mothership would come, and so if they killed themselves on Earth, the mothership would beam up their souls and they would be able to travel with aliens.
Kind of like the whole Heaven's Gate
I was
thing,
going to say, that's very
it's
familiar.
exactly like that, actually. They referenced it. The joke was, well, maybe these guys were wearing Nikes, but 1966, so they in Brazil, so they probably weren't. But
why? But in that case, if they're just going to kill them,
maybe they were misinformed. Maybe they thought they had to wear those.
well, maybe
Could be like the old thing of when was it that they used to put pennies on your eyes? To pay the
Was
2
it in
pence for
Rome?
the boatman.
So they
in
figured.
Hades?
So they figured that the aliens were short on lead, and so they just thought they'd put some lead.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know.
It could have been that, but it's just, it's one of those weird things where there's a lot of cultural oddities around when someone dies. Eyes always come up. You always place something on their eyes, and I don't know why that is. You just see it reoccurring in a lot of things, and so it strikes a chord here. Does it make sense? No, but it strikes a chord that I can't ignore.
And the towel thing is weird to me. They say, well, it indicates they were expecting moisture, and it's like, well, yeah, it was raining, but you wear a raincoat. You don't bring a towel like you've gone swimming.
Right.
Towels for when you get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The towel thing is still super weird to me. I don't know.
So my thinking about the whole towel thing is that if they were up there, supposing they were expecting to make contact with a UFO up there, they don't know exactly what to expect, but they're thinking probably it's entirely possible we can expect like intense light, intense heat. And so that was why they made themselves some lead spectacles, because they thought, well, we can go buy sunglasses, but no sunglasses we buy are probably going to be adequate.
Sure.
So it's kind of a worst case scenario kind of thing. So they had the towels along. And I read one account of this. The towels were in a plastic bag, and they had been pre-soaked. They were wet. So my thinking is that their plan was that when the UFO showed up, that they would put on the lead shades to protect their vision from intense light, should there be intense light, and should there be very intense heat, they could pick up the towels and hold the towels in front of them. The towels and the moisture in the towels would actually absorb some of that heat and give it off in steam and protect them from the intense heat. And I think it was kind of a worst case scenario kind of thing for them to have wet towels handy just in case they were experiencing intense heat.
That's really planned out.
It is. I was also going to say that's like one of the smartest theories I've heard out of you.
Oh, hey, up yours.
So I think
that explains the water bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, they probably wanted to drink a little bit of that too if they're going to go hiking, but
and to take the capsules.
Yes.
Right?
And my other thing is that why they died is that if they were expecting possible radiation, they might have thought it would be a good precaution to take iodine pills to protect their thyroid. If they had pills that were a much stronger mix of iodine than what they believed they were taking, then iodine poisoning actually can kill you. And it's also possible that they could have gotten tainted drugs also, and they were just poisoned by the tainted drugs.
Well, does iodine poisoning kill you relatively quickly?
No, not really.
It's a slow process.
Well, it's not weeks or anything like that. But my understanding is iodine poisoning it's not an instant sort of thing.
But it's kind of painful. It takes a bit.
It's painful. You're sick. You're nauseous. You throw up. You get diarrhea and stuff like that. So that's a mark against that theory. But
I was going to say is one of the things that is reported about these guys when they were found is that the grass around them was